Have you ever noticed subtle changes in yourself or a loved one that made you pause and wonder if something deeper might be going on? Maybe it's a shift in energy levels, a change in appetite, or even a newfound sense of reflection that feels different from the usual ups and downs of life. These moments can be hard to put into words, but they often leave us with a quiet sense of concern. If you've been feeling this way, or if you're caring for someone who seems to be changing in ways that are hard to explain, you're not alone. Today, we're going to talk about something that's not always easy to discuss, but is incredibly important. The subtle signs that an elderly person may be in their final year of life. Now, I want to be clear, this isn't about fear or pessimism. It's about understanding, compassion, and being prepared so that we can provide the best possible care and support for our loved ones, and even for ourselves. These signs aren't always obvious, and they can be easy to overlook or dismiss as just a normal part of aging. But by recognizing them, we can ensure that our loved ones are comfortable, cherished, and surrounded by the care they deserve during this precious time. In this video, we'll explore 7 subtle warnings that may indicate an elderly person is entering their final year. These signs aren't meant to alarm you, but rather to help you approach this phase of life with awareness and kindness. We'll start by talking about some of the most common changes you might notice, like shifts in energy levels and appetite, and then we'll move on to other important indicators, such as changes in social behavior and emotional well-being. Let's begin with the first sign, a noticeable decline in energy. As we age, it's natural to slow down a bit. We might not have the same stamina we did in our younger years, and that's perfectly normal. But when an elderly person's energy levels drop significantly, more than what seems typical for their age, it can be a sign that their body is starting to wind down. You might notice that they're sleeping more during the day, even if they're getting enough rest at night. Or perhaps they're no longer able to participate in activities they once enjoyed, like gardening, walking, or even visiting with friends and family. This isn't just about physical tiredness, though. It's also about a kind of emotional and mental fatigue. They might seem less interested in planning for the future or engaging in conversations about what's coming next. Instead, they may focus more on the present moment, finding comfort in simple, quiet activities like sitting by a window, listening to music, or reminiscing about the past. If you've noticed this in someone you care about, it's important to approach the situation with sensitivity. Try to create a calm, peaceful environment where they feel safe and supported. Encourage them to rest when they need to, but also gently invite them to engage in activities that bring them joy, even if it's just for a short time. Sometimes, just being present with them, holding their hand, sharing a story, or simply sitting in silence can mean the world. Now, let's talk about the second sign, changes in appetite and eating habits. Food is such an important part of our lives. It's not just about nourishment. It's also about connection, tradition, and pleasure. But as a person nears the end of their life, their relationship with food often changes. You might notice that they're eating less than they used to, or that they've lost interest in foods they once loved. They might say they're not hungry, even if it's been hours since their last meal. This can be really hard to watch, especially if you're used to seeing them enjoy their favorite dishes or share meals with the family. But it's important to understand that this is often a natural part of the process. As the body begins to slow down, it requires less energy, which means less food. Forcing someone to eat when they're not hungry can actually make them uncomfortable, so it's better to focus on offering small, easy-to-digest meals and snacks that they can enjoy at their own pace. And remember, it's not just about the food itself. It's about the experience. Even if they're not eating much, you can still make mealtime special by creating a warm, inviting atmosphere. Play their favorite music, light a candle, or simply sit with them and share a cup of tea. These small gestures can make a big difference in how they feel. As we move forward, we'll explore more signs that can help you understand what your loved one might be experiencing. But for now, take a moment to reflect on what we've covered so far. Have you noticed any of these changes in someone you care about, or perhaps in yourself? If so, know that it's okay to feel a mix of emotions, concern, sadness, even a sense of helplessness. These feelings are completely normal, and they're a testament to the love and care you have for the person in your life. As we continue our conversation about the subtle signs that an elderly person may be in their final year, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've discussed so far. We've talked about how a noticeable decline in energy and changes in appetite can be early indicators that the body is beginning to slow down. These shifts, while difficult to witness, are often a natural part of the process, and understanding them can help us provide the care and comfort our loved ones need. Now, let's move on to the third sign, changes in sleep patterns. Sleep is such an important part of our overall well-being, and it's something that often changes as we age. But when an elderly person is nearing the end of their life, those changes can become more pronounced. You might notice that they're sleeping much more than usual, sometimes even drifting off in the middle of a conversation or activity. On the other hand, they might also experience periods of restlessness or insomnia, finding it hard to settle into a deep, restful sleep. These changes can be confusing, especially if they seem to come and go without any clear pattern. But they're often a reflection of the body's natural rhythms as it begins to wind down. During this time, it's important to create a comfortable, peaceful environment where your loved one can rest as much as they need to. Soft lighting, calming music, and a cozy blanket can all help make their space feel more inviting. And if they're experiencing restlessness or difficulty sleeping, try to be patient and understanding. Sometimes just sitting with them, holding their hand, or speaking in a soothing voice can help them feel more at ease. It's not about fixing the problem. It's about being there for them in whatever way they need. Now, let's talk about the fourth sign, withdrawal from social activities and relationships. As humans, we're wired for connection. We thrive on relationships, conversations, and shared experiences. But as a person nears the end of their life, they may begin to pull away from the people and activities they once enjoyed. This can be one of the hardest signs to understand, especially if your loved one was always the life of the party or the one who kept the family together. You might notice that they're less interested in attending family gatherings, answering phone calls, or even engaging in conversations with those closest to them. They might spend more time alone, preferring quiet solitude over the hustle and bustle of social interaction. This withdrawal isn't a reflection of how much they love or care about the people in their life. Instead, it's often a way of conserving energy and focusing on what feels most meaningful to them in the moment. They might be reflecting on their life, processing their emotions, or simply finding comfort in stillness. If you've noticed this in someone you care about, try to respect their need for space, while also letting them know you're there for them. You might say something like, "I understand if you're not up for talking right now, but I just want you to know that I'm here whenever you need me." Sometimes, just knowing that someone is there, ready to listen or sit quietly with them, can be incredibly comforting. Now, let's move on to the fifth sign, increased emotional sensitivity or mood changes. As we approach the end of life, emotions can become more intense and unpredictable. Your loved one might experience moments of profound sadness, anxiety, or even anger. They might cry more easily, express fears about the future, or become frustrated with small things that never used to bother them. These emotions can be difficult to navigate, both for them and for you as their caregiver. But it's important to remember that these feelings are a natural part of the process. Your loved one might be grappling with unresolved issues, saying goodbye to the life they've known, or simply feeling overwhelmed by the physical and emotional changes they're experiencing. During this time, your role is to be a source of comfort and stability. Listen to them without judgment, validate their feelings, and reassure them that it's okay to feel whatever they're feeling. You might say something like, "I can see that this is really hard for you, and I'm here to support you in any way I can." Sometimes, just having someone acknowledge their emotions can make a world of difference. And don't forget to take care of yourself. 2. Supporting someone through this phase of life can be emotionally draining, and it's okay to seek help or take breaks when you need them. You can't pour from an empty cup, so make sure you're giving yourself the care and compassion you deserve. As we move forward, we'll explore the final signs that can help you understand what your loved one might be experiencing. But for now, take a moment to reflect on what we've covered so far. Have you noticed any of these changes in someone you care about? How have you navigated these challenges? Now, let's move on to the sixth sign, changes in physical appearance. As the body begins to wind down, you might notice subtle shifts in your loved one's physical appearance. Their skin might become thinner, paler, or cooler to the touch. They might lose weight, even if they're eating regularly or their muscles might appear weaker and less defined. These changes can be unsettling to see, especially if you're used to seeing them vibrant and full of life. But it's important to remember that these changes are a natural part of the process. The body is conserving energy, focusing on what's most essential, and letting go of what's no longer needed. During this time, your role is to help your loved one feel as comfortable and cared for as possible. Soft, warm blankets, gentle moisturizers for their skin, and comfortable clothing can all help them feel more at ease. And don't underestimate the power of touch. Holding their hand, gently massaging their shoulders, or simply brushing their hair can be incredibly soothing. For both of you, these small gestures of care and connection can speak volumes, even when words feel inadequate. Now, let's talk about the seventh and final sign: changes in communication and spiritual well-being. As a person nears the end of their life, they might begin to communicate in ways that are different from what you're used to. They might speak less, or their words might become harder to understand. They might also talk about seeing or hearing things that aren't there, like loved ones who have passed away or places from their past. This can be confusing or even frightening if you're not prepared for it. But it's important to approach these moments with an open heart and mind. Many people believe that these experiences are a way for the person to process their emotions, say their goodbyes, or prepare for the transition ahead. If your loved one starts talking about seeing someone who has passed away, try to respond with compassion and curiosity. You might say something like, "Tell me more about what you're seeing," or "It sounds like you're feeling connected to them." These conversations can be deeply meaningful, offering a sense of closure and peace for both of you. And don't forget to honor their spiritual or emotional needs during this time. Whether they find comfort in prayer, meditation, music, or simply being surrounded by loved ones, creating a space that feels sacred and supportive can make a world of difference. As we bring this conversation to a close, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. Recognizing these subtle signs isn't about predicting the future or dwelling on the inevitable. It's about approaching this phase of life with awareness, compassion, and love. It's about being present for our loved ones in a way that honors their journey and brings comfort to their hearts. If you've noticed any of these signs in someone you care about, remember that you're not alone. This is a deeply human experience, one that connects us all in the end. And while it's not always easy, it's also an opportunity to show up in ways that matter most, with kindness, patience, and an open heart. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Have you walked this path with a loved one? What helped you navigate the challenges and find moments of grace along the way? Share your stories and comments below. It's so important for us to learn from each other and create a community of support and understanding. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Together, we can continue to explore the topics that matter most, offering guidance, comfort, and connection every step of the way. Thank you for being here, for caring so deeply, and for showing up with love and compassion. Here's to living and loving fully at every stage of life. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.